Hello, welcome to the Field of Streams, where I, your host, Janine McRae, bring you the tiny thoughts that stream from my brain, present them to you as though there's some kind of endomorphin that you inject into that uber-fleshy part of your buttocks, and suddenly people are commenting that you appear to be levitating. And it's great because you're putting about the universe like you're on some kind of invisible Segway, which is a dream I once had. Lucid. Now, I can't promise you much, but I can promise you this. I won't keep you long. A promise like that deserves a follow, don't you think? Tap that follow button. Go on. Every time you do, a writer finds another vowel. Today's post was inspired by a TikTok. Yes, I sometimes fall down the old TikTok hole. That sounded weird. Anyway, the TikTok I watched highlighted an Eckhart Tolle technique. I'm never sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Would you call this thing a technique? It's probably more like a question that gets you into a certain frame of mind or to get you into a meditative state. That's a hard word to say. It's just an interesting little experiment. Give it a go. If you're unfamiliar with Eckhart Tolle, he's a spiritual teacher dude, and I guess you'd say self-help author. He wrote the book The Power of Now, but I'm going to describe him as a guy who just, he thinks a lot about thinking and the self. And this was the question he posed to help, demonstrate that you don't think all the time. And that's okay. That if you're in a state of alertness, something he explains in the book apparently, as like a cat watching a mouse hole, while in that moment of alertness, you're just not thinking. And that you still exist, even though you're not thinking. Whoa! If I were to describe how to do this, it's basically take a breath if you like, close your eyes, up to you, and ask yourself the question, I wonder what my next thought will be. The first time I did this, I found my brain scrambling around trying to find any thought at all, which is funny to me. All my thoughts just scattered and I didn't have any. And then, eventually, you have one. So today's post is really all about diving into that idea. I wonder what my next thought will be. Because it could be the best thought you've ever had. Or it could be mundane. And not to sound like a hippie or nothing, but that's kind of beautiful. Well, that was my thought. Everyone will be different. Let's read. Basic premise, your next thought will be a surprise, so enjoy it. Is that the premise? I need to think about it a little more. Sorry. Without any further ponderations, here is today's episode. Will my next thought be my best thought? What will my next thought be? Will it be about bananas? Coffee? A cat? Or will my next thought be a crafty runner sneaking across the expanse of my mind into the safety of the overgrown ditch on the other side? Will it be fleeting and rude, a thought that knows it should never be said aloud? If that's the thought that's next, will it make it across the expanse, or will it be felled by the internal bad idea sniper watching from my doubt parapet, currently locking in sights and chewing gum? If that's the next thought, if that's the one. Or will my next thought be about a song caught in the amber of my ear and echoing toward the chamber of my heart, and this will be me wondering why that is? Will it be of chores to be done and errands to be run, of life's dull tune that plays and plays and plays, an earworm for the undone? Will there be a list? Will my next thought be about time, the lack of it, or the too much stretching at the canvas of the day? Will it be about the constant pain in my knee and how I should really have that looked at? Is that my next thought? I wonder. Will it be a crushing reminder of the pointlessness of self, of myself in particular, of those eyes looking back each morning and having nothing, being nothing, wanting all? Is that it? Will it be an image of myself, a stark outline of a form against the world, wailing and flailing, tripping and falling in an effort to make herself known? Will it be a fleeting glimpse into my own psyche, frightening and filled with fear, a shaking, waking, trembling leaf caught in the pool filter of time, sucking against the drain? Will it be a right talking to for the ages, of me saying things to myself that I wouldn't let anyone else say? Will it be of existential dread? Or will it be of bills, which is sometimes the same thing? What will my next thought be? Will it be a flood of warm thought, a lazy dream of nature and the world and of me marvelling at the love of being in it, on it, part of the kaleidoscope? A memory, perhaps. Perhaps that time when I hit a golf ball so perfectly I found an instant connection to what you would probably call life, but could just be luck in the moment. A force, a conversation, a message from some spirit above you through ball to club to body to earth like lightning striking a tall tree as if to say, I see you, Janine. I see you. A memory of my mother, of childhood, of a boy named Daniel, of a man named, in closing brackets, name withheld. Will it be that? Will it be something that doesn't exist yet, something that springs from the soil of my brain, an idea in delicate bloom with petals just winking open, an idea born of time and flowering from within my mind and out into the world to do what exactly? What be the thought? Will this thought have colour? A voice? Will the shape of it be real, be true, be honest? Or will it be a scam, a ruse, a sleight of hand? Ego talking, strutting, making me do what I do not want and do and don't do. Will it be a whisper? Unnecessary since I'm the only one listening. A scoffing sound? No joke. What will my next thought be? Breakfast? Will it be about breakfast and how much protein is in it and how that's probably not enough and where and how can I get more protein? Am I anemic? Should I start eating meat again? What is a Bitcoin? I wonder, will this next thought be about you? About the glory of what you mean to me and how if that's so significant, why don't I talk to you more, reach out to you more, call, text, drop a line? Surely that's the least I can do. Will it be a family? Will it be about that record I want, or the book I'm reading, or that person that fascinates me and now I worry I'm perhaps obsessing on and should figure out why so I can back off on that and search for those qualities that fascinate me in someone who is attainable? Just a thought. Or will it be, as it so often is, about nothing and I'll get caught in the nothing and not realise I'm in it until a bit later when I'll look around and think, where did I go just then? And be so tickled that I was absent, that my mind has a dead spot, that I grin for no reason. A secret grin. Will it be a jealous thought? A bitter thought? A flash of anger? Sad. I wonder what my next thought will be. I don't know, but I do know that I don't know, and that's a surprise. I don't know what it looks like or if it brings me love or means me harm, nor do I know the direction of its arrival. Yet somehow I'm always looking the right way when it comes. This is my next thought. That was my last thought, but not my last ever thought. Think about it. And there you have it, today's episode. I hope you come back for more in the future. I think you will. Why? Because these little missives are designed to inspire creative folk like you to put your hand to your chin and think before getting out there to make something of your own. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the podcast so that you never miss one. Sign up to read my writing at janinemccrae.substack.com. But for now, I will leave you with this. Love what you love, and I'll see you out there making stuff. And thinking.